morning, everyone. Good morning. Running a little bit behind this morning, so let me give it a minute or two for people to get in. Um, and I had a few glitches. I was doing a restart on my computer for an update, and it took way longer than I was expecting. So let me give it another minute or two, and we'll start the meditation, okay? Thank you so much for joining this morning. Thanks. And who's ever joining out there, good morning, and let's give it one more minute. Actually, we're starting a little bit late, but I did a restart on my computer, and it ended up taking way longer than I thought. If I had known that, I'd have just waited to finish it. But I think it took about 15 minutes to do the updates, to restart. I'm like, come on, come on. In any case, yeah, I think at 8:05, and we've got one more person there that just joined in. So I think we'll go ahead and get going. Sorry to run late on you, and I'm still here at Mom's. Hopefully Mom will get discharged today, and that she will go into a rehab nursing home, which has a good reputation. So she's got to be in there 2 weeks by herself, no visitors, but on a good news note, I hope they get her strength back, because she's very weak right now. She can't stand much by herself, but I think the potential is there. So I'm grateful for the beautiful sunshine this morning. It's chilly out there, though. It's 19 degrees, so but it's supposed to warm up to 47. That's Michigan for you, right? 19 degrees in the morning, 47 in the afternoon. Thanks for joining this morning. Let's meditate. Let me actually move this just a little closer, because just make sure we've got good sound with it. Let's see, that's about right. Okay, so okay, all right. Well, thank you for joining, and if you haven't already, just make yourself comfortable. And just really allow your physical body to just sink into whatever you're sitting or laying on. And just taking in a nice deep breath. And just really letting go. Just letting go. Let's really just create a sanctuary of love, of peace, of joy. God for me, whatever that source is for you, just this sacred temple within ourselves. And I think it's Rumi that tells the story, or the poem, that he talks about opening the temple to truth, to who we are, to God, only to discover that the door that we have been knocking on, we have been inside the room the whole time. And that's you. You and I, we've been in the room, the temple of God, the temple of truth the whole time. But of course, our mind has had something to say about it, which it doesn't matter that the mind has had something to say about it, but what does matter is that we have believed the mind to be true. And that is really of the past. That's irrelevant now if you recognize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your mind, you are not your feelings, you are not your perceptions, nor are you your actions. And quite frankly, I'm still exploring with that one. I still get caught in identifying as the doer. But it's okay. It's okay wherever you're at. And yesterday I was talking to someone who is really finding her voice in the world and speaking out and taking good care of herself. But she was doing it in really with a lot of anger in how she was communicating, because she had been walked on so many times. She had allowed herself to be walked on so many times that she was dedicated and committed. Nobody is walking on me anymore. And there's something really good and perhaps even healthy about coming to that place where we learn to speak up and we learn to have a voice. But what's also true is, as we find our voice and we speak it out, we come to a place where we see that we do not have to yell anything. And we can just simply, calmly say and share whatever we want. But until that time happens, what I was sharing with her, to have compassion. We're all on this journey of really just not knowing what we're doing. Certainly our parents didn't, and our family, and the teachers, and the ministers, and rabbis, and the priests, all these so-called leaders in our world, even the heads of state and politicians. Really, I mean, certainly our mind is happier with some than others, but the truth is, what leaders are out there in the world that are coming from a place of conscious awareness? We've been blessed with a few, such as Gandhi and Nelson Mandela and Maya Angelou, and just some of the leaders that have taken place, and of course Amma, who is, and many of the sages that walk this earth have taken not a political stance, because politics is really still dealing with the duality of the mind. They've simply taken, I don't even know if I want to say a stance. They simply are allowing the consciousness to express through them in a divine and perfect way that is rooted in love and not in fear. So right now, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Right now, I just invite you just to let go of all the past. Just let it all go. There literally is not one single thing that you need to hold on to. Certainly nothing of material value. And I'm not saying you get rid of it. I'm saying you stop holding on to it. There's a difference. The holding on to is effort, and this feeling that that comes from fear that you will lose it. I'm saying give up everything so fully that there's no fear that can be there, because the fear has nothing to grasp, because you're not holding on to anything at all. You're holding on to nothing, no thing. So not holding on to anything material, not even your money, not holding on to your home or your car, and not holding on to any loved ones either. You holding on to them does not mean that you get to keep them in your life. That has nothing to do with you holding on to them. It has everything to do with what life and God bring you, because what you have manifested in your world is simply there for your greatest good, to help you to awaken, to remember and return home to who you have always been. And so the holding on does not accomplish any of that. And so with that said, I also invite you just to even let go of holding on to this physical body, and not even holding on to life or God itself. Because you are life, and you are one. I am one with our beloved Creator. And even Jesus says this in the Bible. We forget. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. But actually, I don't recall if it was Jesus that said that. But in the Bible, it says, you and the Father are one. A forgotten verse that sometimes gets overshadowed by Jesus. And for me, I can only speak the truth from my truth, and that is, I have gone to Jesus many times to try to worship, and Jesus has not allowed it. He does. He understands that we worship him, but he also has always directed me to the Father. The same thing as him. And you too can do all things I have done and even greater things. He doesn't want you to look up to him. He wants you to be as he is. And he has been this tremendous, beautiful way shower to show us what's possible, to show us the infiniteness of who we are, that we have to step beyond the mind and the duality of the mind and the logic of the mind. Because it's the logic of the mind that prevents us from walking on water or raising the dead or healing the blind, right? That's not logical. What? Your friend asked you to walk on the water with them? No, I don't think so. I don't think I'll be doing that today. That's a deep pool of water, and the water's really cold, and I'm not going to sink down into the abyss of the water, and maybe the water's stormy like it was when Jesus asked Peter to walk on the water and said, "Ye have little faith." And just the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Even in the Bible, it describes the Apostle Paul as raising people from the dead. So Jesus wasn't the only one. Jesus was not the only one. And there have been many, many documented cases. Yogananda describes of Babaji raising people from the dead in his book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. And if you haven't read it, it's a wonderful book. So let's not limit ourselves. Let's not limit ourselves to the logic and the limitations of the mind. If we truly are infinite, like our beloved Father, then let's let go of all limitations. Just letting go of all your beliefs of what you think is possible, of who you think you are. Just letting everything that you can think of or imagine of who you think you are, just letting it go right now. And as I said, there's not one single thing that you need to hold on to. You don't even want to hold on to life or God, which I mentioned, because you are life. And by holding on to, having a tight grip on life or your body or having a tight grip on God does not assure that you will have this experience. It's moving beyond all of our things we're holding on to, all these beliefs, all these limiting thoughts that will allow you to reconnect, realign, and remember the truth that you have always been and will always be. There literally is nothing you can ever do or say, or nothing you've ever done or said, that will ever keep you from being the truth of who you are. At best, you can only mask recognizing this truth of who you are by still holding on to old beliefs, old patterns, old ways of living. And right now, I'm just inviting you to just allow in the sunshine. Whether you have sunshine in physically around you or not, just allowing the sunshine into your heart. Just allowing the sunshine to fill you up and envelop you. Most of humanity has yet to discover the incredible healing energy of the sun. That this sun can literally help sustain life on this planet. That it can literally sustain life on this entire planet. And you might hear my puppy just gently moaning in the background like she always does. Very cute. Just allowing the sunshine into your heart, allowing God into your heart, allowing love into your heart. You don't need to walk alone. You never have. And you never have walked alone in truth. You never have walked alone. The truth of who you are has always been and will always be. And you cannot escape God either. It's like a fish trying to get away from the water. It's like a fish trying to get away from the water. The fish can't get away from the water any more than you can get away from God. So right now I just invite you to fully melt into, fully surrender into this present moment. What does that mean? It means to let go of any resistance to life, which means letting go of any and all desires and attachments that you have, of how your mind and your ego think life should look, or think how you should be in the world, or think how you should show up, or to think who you are, or how you're supposed to be, or who you're supposed to be. Even the ideas and beliefs and attachments to say, I should be loving or kind or compassionate, even those. Because don't put any conditions on yourself. God's love is unconditional, so is your true self. Unconditional love, meaning it loves without any condition at all. And when you come from that place beyond any conditions, then you return to a place of innocence. And you simply allow God to express itself through you and as you, that you allow God to express itself through you and as you. And when you are not coming from the mind and the fears and all the old beliefs and conditioning of who you think you should be, there is innocence and there is freedom. And the Christians call this salvation. In the East they call it enlightenment. There's many, many names for it, and it doesn't matter. Samadhi. And so as you really melt into, surrender fully into this moment without any resistance, letting go of all your attachments and desires. Because consider that, once you let go of all your attachments and desires, God and life can bring you whatever they want to bring, which by the way is always on your side. But your mind doesn't feel like it's always on their side, because the mind says, no, not this experience. But God and life say, yes, this experience, because there's something you're holding on to that is blocking you from just simply being the truth of who you are. And when you let go of all your attachments and desires, it doesn't matter what's brought to you. You can still be rooted in the truth of who you are and be at peace with everything. And so I also invite you just to simply melt into and surrender into peace right now in this moment. And I also invite you to melt into and surrender into love itself. And I also invite you to just melt into, surrender into joy, the bliss of God itself. Just surrender into, melt into peace and joy and the bliss of God. And I also invite you to melt into and surrender into life, the very thing that you are, the very truth that you are, and surrender into God, the very thing and the very truth that you are. You were created in the likeness and the image of our beloved Creator. You are the same. You are the same. So if there's any attachments, any desires, if there's any stress or any beliefs that block you from just being completely in peace and joy and love right now, I invite you just to empty all of that out. Just let it go. Just let it go and see what remains. Just notice what remains. And if you feel like you haven't gotten to that place, then just notice that and notice the perfection of that as well. It doesn't matter where you're at. Even if you say, I can't access that, I can't feel the peace, I can't feel the joy, then just simply notice that and allow that to be okay. Let go of your attachments to that to be any different. Because when you let go of your attachments to that, even letting go of your attachments to be enlightened, then you can still experience peace, right? Yeah, but I'm not liking this, Brett. Okay. Just sit with that. Just notice that. And when you sit with it and you notice that and you don't fight against that, you can find peace with that as well. Then let that be your starting point. I speak from the truth to the best of my abilities. And there are times where I'm very much caught in my head. It happened this morning. And I was noticing the thoughts. I was not liking the experience. I was wanting to get rid of the experience, get rid of the thoughts, and I was even noticing that. And then, fortunately, many of us have had a lot of practice and we have a lot of tools in our tool belt. I just said, because part of me, being in my head, I had this fear that I would not lead a good meditation. And so I had to surrender to that. Okay, God, you're in charge. If you want me to give a crappy meditation, then so be it. Then we'll sit and have a crappy meditation together. And there can still be a peace about that when we stop resisting having a crappy meditation, for a lack of a more elegant word. I'm grateful for all of you. And I'm grateful for myself. And the more I do let go of my attachments and my desires, and I flow with life and I flow with God, I just find more of a peace every day. I find more of a gratitude every day. I find more of a love every day. And I find less and less struggling and suffering. And I feel more and more that I have to share this with others. I have to share this with others because you are my brothers and my sisters. And no one gets left behind. Every single person that we can see and experience is all simply a reflection of who we are. And so why would we want to leave anyone, even the person you call evil or dark? They are just simply unconscious and unaware. That's all. They are simply lost, but at the core truth are the exact same as us. Pure conscious awareness. And the more we step into the pure conscious awareness of who we are, then we can see them with eyes of consciousness. And we can see beyond their person, their ego. And anytime we see someone beyond their person and their ego, we automatically start lifting them up, whether they know it or not. And so I'd just like to bring your attention to your breath and just notice, or you can use the silence or stillness. There comes a point in time where we have to start exploring more with the silence and the stillness. Why? Because we are the silence. We are the stillness. And the core truth of who we are has nothing to do with any thinking or thoughts. It has nothing to do with any feelings or emotions. Has nothing to do with what we perceive about ourselves, about others, or about the world. And it has nothing to do with the actions we take. From the stillness, from the silence, we are a witness to the entire cosmos. We are as God, this pure isness that is watching it all with love, with peace, with joy, without needing to fix or change any of it, and without being involved with fixing or changing any of it. And you heard me speak of the three gunas that I've been saying recently. The three gunas are the forces of nature that are moving through us, within us, around us, to give us the experience of thinking, feeling, perceiving, and doing. But then, when we return to the stillness and silence of who we are observing the three gunas, and we're observing all the thoughts, feelings, perceiving, and doing. And that is the truth of who you are, the one who is able to be a witness to it all, without needing to change any of it. And so for me in the morning time, I like to keep these meditations a little shorter for me personally, because I'm going to be going to see my mom again this morning, and with good fortune, with blessings, with support, hopefully she'll get out today and can go to the rehab center for 2 weeks. So you may want to just sit and be in the stillness, in the silence. And if it's your mind is busy, then simply notice that and be in that, and that's perfect as well. It doesn't matter what you're in, you're simply the witness to all of it. And so if you want to say something on Facebook or YouTube, a comment, you're certainly welcome to. But you're also welcome to just, bask in this energy and just meditate in the silence and the stillness. And you can make a comment, because the videos will be saved on Facebook and YouTube, of course, and you can make a comment later. I love you guys. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for sharing this precious time right now, a time of sacredness, a time where we return to this sanctuary that we call home, that we call the core truth of who we are. And it's beautiful, and it's innocent, and it's freedom. And you don't have to earn your place back to that truth. You are that truth already. So enjoy it, and be well, and love and blessings to all of you. Amen. Sweet girl. And You don't have to earn your place back to that truth. I am going to say, some of you, you can mute if you don't want to hear this. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning. Thank you for being with me, my friend. Michelle, good morning. Good morning to you. And it amazes me because Michelle's 2 hours behind us, so she starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, but she rarely misses a meditation, and it's not, and I'm in just gratitude for your dedication to just living as the truth, the beautiful, beautiful truth of who you are. And I just love you so much, and I'm so grateful to have you part of this. And Marjorie Ann, thank you, Marjorie Ann. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And let's see here. I'm going to also go over to YouTube. I thought I saw somebody over there, and maybe I did. Or not. Okay. We're all good. Okay, I'm going to close things out. Thanks for joining, you guys. Have a blessed day. And I feel compelled to say, keep taking in the grace. Keep taking in the grace of God and all the angels and just all the sages and saints around you. Just keep allowing that grace in. God and spirit and life are on your side. Just keep allowing it in, and allow them to lift you up and carry you home to that place that you can be rooted in the truth of who you are. Namaste, my friends.